What's up guys, welcome back to a new Kengan Omega chapter review. Today we have chapter 96. This chapter was full of hype and some disappointment if I'm being honest. For us Kure Raian fans, this chapter was greatness, but for others who are not so much a fan of Kure Raian, it was a big letdown with Alan Wu pretty much taking the biggest L in the series for a fighter. And we now have a lot of questions on how the tournament will go from here, whether the tournament will actually continue from here. And yeah, big rips to my Kure Raian vs Alan Wu prediction video. Now let's get into the review. Help me reach my 2021 goal of 100k subscribers by subscribing if you're new to the channel or you just haven't already. It's free and easy to do. Also consider checking out the description for the Discord server and my Twitter. Now enjoy the video. Title of the chapter is True Purpose, with it starting out having Oma and Yamashita question what's going on with Raian. As we know, he saw two people that made him lose interest completely in Alan Wu. The main prediction of these two people was Edward Wu and Zia G, and now it's confirmed it was Edward Wu and Zia G who have, caught the eye of Kure Raian. And at first, when a lot of people were predicting this last chapter, a lot of questions were why would Raian really care too much that Edward Wu is there and that Zia G is there? We know Raian doesn't care too much about Zia G as he's a lot weaker than him and maybe had some connection with Edward Wu. A lot of people didn't know, but it's revealed this chapter with a flashback. We have Kure Raian talking about how another Kure Clan member was killed, and he was actually the next person to become the leader of the Kure Clan when Kure Raian would step down. They talk about how this person was on the hunt for the head of the worm, and while going on this hunt he was teaming up with the Wu Clan main branch and the Westwood faction, until the Westwood faction headed by Edward Wu actually betrayed them and killed the next in charge of the Kure Clan. And this is where Kure Raian gives the order to the remaining Kure Clan members. This is Edward Wu, head of the Westwood faction. Remember his face well. Do not let him get away with this. So he pretty much issued a kill on sight order, and that's why Kure Raian has completely lost interest in Alan Wu. We see Zia G absolutely freaking out. Poor Zia G, man, just wanted to become the head of the worm, going through all this crazy shit with the Wu and Kure Clan going at each other. Unlucky to him. We got Edward saying it's over. It looks like I was too naive, pretty much assuming that Alan Wu has already lost. We got Alan talking some shit to Raian, getting him to, focus on him. Do you think I'm nothing to you? Just talking some shit. Raian saying, I don't give a shit about you anymore. If you get lost right now, I won't beat you to death. So Ryan's giving him a chance. How kind. Of course, Alan Wu isn't about that, still talking more shit, and then charges Raian. And this is where we finally get to see more Kure Clan techniques from my boy Kure Raian. And not just one, a combination of Kure Clan techniques. So we have the first one. I'm probably going to butcher all the names, so I won't even bother trying to say the names of all these techniques. But the first one seems to blind Alan Wu here. And then he has a hard slam, so another attack. Something called Buddha Killer, that's similar to what Misa used to roll Monkey Boy. Mountain Breaker, and then Leg Thrust. We got Lo Long, opening his eyes saying he's strong. We got Alan Wu freaking out, going to charge. I'm assuming he can't see anymore. His throat's probably destroyed as well. He tries to bite into Raian, but as he's going to bite, Raian enters removal and hits him with an uppercut. And I actually quite enjoyed that transition. Prior to this, most transformations had like a single panel dedicated to the transformation. You have like the opponent watching him transform, while Raian here, when serious, this transforms as he's going for a punch to get more power out of it, which I quite enjoyed and is something I wish more was done in various manga and anime. And then after landing that uppercut, Alan Wu's absolutely getting destroyed. Raian gets his two hands, puts it inside Alan Wu's mouth and starts stretching it. He says, bye bye, maybe we can play again if I see you in hell. And Alan Wu getting super worried, pulls out a knife from his pocket. Now the real question is, why is Alan Wu holding a knife? What is he thinking the knife is going to do? And Raian, the absolute devil, the monster, this rips Alan Wu into two. One of the coolest, most insane panels we've ever had in the series, as he just rips Alan Wu in two. We see the referee who's absolutely stunned as she sees the blood go everywhere, as she sees someone gets ripped in two, which is honestly just devastating. Right after Raian does that, he says, match over ref, I'm disqualified. Go ahead and call the match for that mangled corpse and then zooms away. So as we see, once he saw Edward Wu, Alan Wu had a chance to get out as Ryan, had given him, but he didn't take it, so he was pretty much dead. And this showcased how strong Kure Raian truly is when he's serious. I believe this is the first time in the whole series we've seen what a serious Kure Raian is capable of, which is honestly absolutely insane. And the fact that he ripped him in two. When the Raws came out yesterday, everyone was just freaking out. They couldn't believe it. Alan Wu pretty much taking the biggest L in the whole series. We got Naden, who died, a few fights ago, 2 fights ago. But he pretty much killed himself. We know he could have dominated Garuki. Or Alan Wu has this 5,000-year-old ancient removal from the first Wu. That's absolutely nothing to Kure Raian, who just splits him into negative difficulty, easy dubs. This honestly biggest disappointment for Alan Wu, but Kure Raian is an absolute beast and an absolute monster. Now to continue with the chapter, we have the crowd who's watching all freaking out. We got Sayaka and Jerry Tyson freaking out, Jerry screaming, "This ain't nothing like Guy killing Naden by accident, it's straight up murder." Jurata from Team Purgatory saying "that bastard," and some inner monologue from our boy Lo Long. Was that the strongest man in the Kure Clan? Yes sir, it was. He's on par with the Fang. So Lo Long saying he's on par with the Fang, I'm assuming that refers to Kanagito or Misa, but since Kanagito had his battle against Luthien last round, I'm assuming it means him. And considering Ryan's showcase of strength, what the author has said about him in Q&As in the past, I'm guessing he's referring to Kanagito rather than Monkey Trash or Misa. I would consider Kure Raian to be above Misa, but yeah, Lo Long is very impressed by Kure Raian's insane power. We got to see multiple Kure Clan techniques and how he could just dominate someone like Alan Wu with them, which is honestly insane. We cut to Edward Wu and Zia G, who's walking away. Edward questions whether Alan Wu is already dead, with, I'm guessing he hears the commotion outside on the ring as he's walking away. He didn't even stall him. That kid's good, so he's impressed with Kure Raian, showing that he doesn't really care about Alan Wu and may have never believed in him being able to beat Kure Raian. And once he saw Kure Raian notice he's there, he saw the true power of Kure Raian. He's like, oh shit, Alan Wu's big rips, time to walk away and get ready to fight him. We got Zia G freaking out, who has asked Edward Wu in previous chapters whether Alan Wu will be able to take him out, with Edward saying yes of course. And Edward Wu doesn't like that. Kuya Jet starts beating on Zia G, always beating on Zia G. Honestly, I feel bad for him at this point. It's embarrassing to watch you take this game so seriously. Why don't you calm down a little? Just beat him up a little bit more? Zia, this is just getting good. That boy killed my other half. Maybe that refers to Alan Wu. It could maybe refer to someone else. I'm not really sure what he means by that. And we see Alan Wu's serious face. So what should we do with him? So I'm guessing next chapter we're going to have the fight between Edward Wu and Kure Raian, which is going to be absolute hype. And hopefully not a colossal disappointment that we got from Alan Wu. We cut to Kure Iryo, the head of the Wu, Nogi, and how Nogi's honestly just freaking out. Kure Iryo says the Kure Clan is pulling out and that they'll return the money for the contract to win the Purgatory battle they were hired to do. We got Nogi, screaming in absolute rage, and Kure Iryo talks about the Kure Clan values our contracts above ours, but this is an exception. We finally found the maggot that soiled our clan's honor. His execution is the top priority of the Kure Clan. So it seems like the Kure Clan are about to go into war against Edward Wu and maybe the Worm as well, which is honestly insane. We got Nogi mentioning that Edward Wu is a guest of the CEO of Purgatory, and if you lay a finger on him, you won't make an enemy of just Worm, but even Purgatory. So Nogi is worried that a battle between the Kure Clan, Wu Clan main branch against Worm, Purgatory, and Edward Wu and whoever else he has with him in the area. So yeah, absolute insanity. Iryo calls Nogi a fool, saying that they're going to be the ones to destroy Edward Wu and whoever else teams up with him, with the Wu Clan main branch dude telling Iryo to, let's go. So they're getting ready to actually fight and, end up killing Edward Wu here. We have Matsuda here, who mentions if the Kure and Wu Clan work together, that they'll be on par with the Worm and the Westwood faction, assuming they fought alone. So if Edward and the Worm got help from Purgatory, for example, they may be too much for the Wu and Kure Clan, but they're not sure what's going to happen. We've got Nogi, who, you know, is getting told by Metsuru he has a crazy road ahead of him. The competition, they have no idea what's going to happen. And then the final part of the chapter is the people in charge of deciding who wins each match, deliberating on who's actually the winner. Remember that Alan Wu actually decided to attack Ryan or begin the fight before the referee actually told him to start, so he could be disqualified for doing that. And he also had a knife on him and tried using that against Kure Raian, so Team Kengan could argue that it was self-defense and that Ryan had no other choice but to kill him or get killed by the knife, even though we all know that isn't true and Ryan was going to kill him regardless. But yeah, Alan Wu had two things what are considered cheating or breaking the rules, so I would say it's very possible that Kure Raian and Team Kengan could still get the win for this fight, regardless of Ryan killing Alan Wu the way he did. So not too sure what's going to happen with that and whether or not the tournament will actually continue. I'm guessing next chapter we're going to see the fight between Edward Wu and Kure Raian, and it's very possible that an all-out war could commence next chapter and that the tournament would be just disregarded and, you know, the true battle occurs, which honestly may be a big disappointment, because if the tournament doesn't commence after this battle concludes or something like that, that'll be a big disappointment. We don't get to see the remaining fighters in Purgatory, the remaining Kengan fighters showcase what they're capable of in a one-on-one fight. That'll be pretty disappointment, but I'm still pretty excited to see what's going to happen between Kure Raian and Edward Wu next chapter, and whether or not the tournament will actually conclude, and whether I should even make a prediction video on who's going to fight next if the tournament gets called off or something like that. But yep, let me know your thoughts on the chapter down in the comments, thoughts on anything I said in today's video, and yep, that's it guys, peace.